Welcome to the NBA Coast to Coast podcast brought to you by thelines.com. Coming to you from the West Coast, Josh Lander, joined as always by Nate Weitzer on the East Coast. And we have 5 games here on a Thursday night for you guys. In this one, we are taking a look at the Raptors. They are playing host to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Also have another game video up for you and our player props. So make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along with us. Also want you to head to thelines.com. All of our great written content up there as always, including those player props coming at you guys. And we have that odds finder tool up there. You can use that to make sure you're getting all the best juice back on these NBA bets you make this season. Nate, let's get into this little slate for everyone real quick and then talk about this Thunder and Raptors game.
Yeah, first up is the Nuggets -12 at Detroit. Denver has suddenly hit a tailspin here. Mike Malone called out his players. We'll see if that has an effect there as they play the worst team in the East. The Thunder are +7 at 6.5. They open +7 here in Toronto. Total opens around 231. It's a fair line, as Mo would say. Kings +3 at the Nets. We break down that game there with Sack on a back-to-back. After beating the Bulls, yet another clutch performance from De'Aaron Fox. Total is 237 there. Pacers are +14 at the Bucks, and then the Magic are +7 out in Phoenix. OKC, man, they got SGA back in the lineup, and he continues to kill it to become almost a lock for all NBA. In his last 4 since returning from injury, 35 points per game. The team is scoring 124 with a 122 offensive rating. Granted, 3 of the last 4 have been at home there in that span, and they're a notable road home team. They score 9 points per game fewer on the road. Pace is 2 possessions slower. Defense is a little bit worse on the road as well. I mean, Toronto, you don't really know what to do with. I mean, they've been so wonky. They went 1-4 on this road trip. They come home and they beat Denver. But, you know, we've talked in some other videos about what's going on there. That says more about Denver, I think. That snapped a streak of going under in 5 of their last 6 home games against the other conference here. They have also won 7 of their last 8 at home. Take that what you will. Pascal Siakam has notable home road splits, but not a good matchup for him. OKC has really limited power forwards lately. OKC's been, surprisingly really good in a lot of the margins that the Raptors need, right? And you start with 3rd fewest points off turnovers allowed in their last 12 years, 4th fewest paint points. And then, they're scoring in all the areas that you need to for SGA. I mean, they have the 5th lowest assist rate. It's all about SGA though. They're 2nd in defensive rating overall in these last 7, winning 6 of them. He's been very efficient, again, going back to SGA, because that's what this all revolves around. In 4 games against the Raptors as a member of the Thunder, only getting 25 points per game because the usage rate has not been as astronomical as it is now. But we're talking about 52, 53, 93 splits in 4 meetings. He led OKC to a win in Toronto, a low-scoring win, 110-109. The last time they played in Toronto. Early this season, it's a throw-it-out game in my mind. OKC scored 132 at home when Toronto's roster hadn't really gelled. Siakam had just gotten injured, and they just got rolled on the road. So you really look at Toronto as the 12 games since Jakob Poeltl got integrated here, and I mean by the numbers, they're averaging 221. They're about even with their opponents. 95 pace. Opponents have the 5th best field goal percentage. They are denying free throws and second chance, but I think SGA is going to be able to operate in the mid-range here, even with OG Anunoby on him. And Jalen Williams is emerged as a real great second option. Josh Giddey coming off a triple-double. Look, this Thunder squad is coming. And if you're going to give me +6 or plus odds on the money line, I will take that. They seem to relish in this role against the East. Won 6 of their last 7 there. Covered in 8 of their last 9. And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but don't they just have the best record against the spread of anyone in the league this year, or at least when they're underdogs, right?
I mean, definitely underdogs, definitely on the road as underdogs. And then in general, yeah, they're covering at a 62% clip on the season because they're one of the biggest surprises. I mean, you look at who's covering. It's either teams that are like really good, like Milwaukee, Philly, or teams that are surprising the shit out of everyone, like Utah, Sacramento, and some of those teams, right? Like those teams are also covering with the Thunder at that rate. So yeah, it makes total sense. This is that type of situation. I hate betting on Toronto. We talk about this. If you're seed 7 through 14 in the East, I hate you, and I do not want to talk about you, but this is a 5-game slate, and this is a decent opportunity, I think, to talk about the Thunder covering. And I know the Raptors, like you said, have been very good at home and just not really as good on the road, just kind of up and down with a lot of down on the road. But I do think what's been happening in terms of for Oklahoma City, how they've been playing, how they've been the Raptor stats. Let's just call it Raptor stats. Like Raptor stats are points off of turnovers, fast break points, second chance points, and just other gritty, gross hustle stats that you can think of. That's how they win. This Thunder team, while that's kind of been their identity as well, because Shai Gilgeous is shooting 1.5 threes a game, I think, while he's getting like 60% of his points from the paint, as well as from the free throw line. And that's what we're talking about here is they're getting a lot more free throw attempts. Toronto's just not doing much that impresses you at all in their last 7 games. And I guess it's tough because those are all on the road, but like they've just been playing on the road, right? Like what, they're 8 of their last 10 games away from home for this Raptors team. So like I don't really know what to do, considering that they haven't had many games since like basically right before the All-Star break was when they were playing like crappy teams at home and beating the crap out of them. So like I don't know what to do with that. And that's how they got themselves back into the play-in seed as well. But then you look at when they've been playing the teams that they were on the road, and those teams on the road were also, I mean, the Wizards are in there, but then you've got the Nuggets, Clippers, Lakers, and a Lakers team that maybe they should have beaten, but you know, the Lakers came back without even having a great game from AD. So that it's more just like when they play anybody that can give them any kind of like trouble down low, any kind of, because AD still had the like 16 rebounds or whatever. So it's like you're still giving up a lot to opposing big men, which isn't really where the Thunder are good, but they're all of their sort of like big wings, if you will, right? They're tall guys or shorter guys who are stocky and also playing and are long. I mean, Josh Giddey's like 6'10" for, you know, and rebounding like 8.5 boards in his last 15 games. So like, it's not a great matchup for the Raptors in that sense. And if I get 6.5 points or so, then I'm definitely just going to take that with the Thunder. And the way that this Raptors team can kind of just collapse down the stretch as well, maybe there's a little bit of a money line in there. And just for the record, I would take the over at 231 as well, even though the Raptors play a bit better at defense at home. Like they're just not able to stop exactly what I think the Thunder are going to be able to do in this one.
Yeah, I'm scared of the total. Yeah, I mean, just the way the numbers indicate that these teams would go over in this situation, but when they get together, it's kind of a weird herky-jerky situation, I feel like, a la SGA's game. But you said, yeah, the Raptors struggling to score down the stretch. And because what happens in the stretch, you know, no more transition game, right? It's playing the half court. We talked a lot about how they're either the worst or second worst half court offense in the NBA. And they're just not getting any free throw attempts here now, since they basically added Pirtle. But if you want to look at the last few, maybe since Fred VanVleet made the most disparaging comments about officials in the last like 10 years, you're not going to get that many calls anymore. And he was able to will them to a win over Denver by hitting 8 of 12 from 3. But that's OKC, is going to be a little bit better, I think, guarding that line, guarding his position with the guys you mentioned. I don't trust Toronto. You said I don't want to bet on Toronto, but I will bet against them, I guess, or I will really just treat this more about the Thunder, which is exactly, you know, what I'm talking about with Sacramento. At this point in the season, I want to take young, hungry teams that are going to bring a consistent effort every night. And at least now with OKC, I mean, the franchise in years past, you didn't really know. But now we know when SGA is playing that they're going to give you an honest shake. They've won, 6 of the last 7 with him out there. They're 12-3 against the spread their last 15 road games. That's even a couple without him because Jalen Williams has turned into a star as well. So, I'm just going to try to lean on that and say I'll take them over the inconsistent team, even though they're on the road.
Yeah, I'm with it. Like, yeah, they've been playing well in the situations where you just count them out, and on the road, there's nowhere more than that. And Toronto has to win 2 games in a row now. I don't really trust them to do that either. So I'm totally with you, and that's where we're at. But that's all the time we have for you guys in this one. Make sure to like and subscribe to that page. Continue to follow along. Coming back at you each and every weekday this season. So until we see you next, happy betting.